I'm ready.
All right, and we're ready. So we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to When Women Believe WWB. And as you can see, I have another amazing guest, which is Alesha. So before we get into it, we're going to give you guys time to go ahead and share. Today, we're going to be talking about enjoying your single season. So I don't know about many of you as I go and see and make sure we are live. So if you see us, please
What's
come on in and say hello, say hi. Let us know that you're in the building, that you're here. I just want to make sure that I edit the audience that everyone can see it. Let me save that. So I think we're good to go there. And so just please make sure that you're sharing out the live. Make sure that you're coming on in. If you come in, make sure that you say hello so me and Alesha can know that you're here. But today, we are going to be talking about the single season. We're going to talk about enjoying your single season. I'm single, I'm a divorcee. And so, baby, the single season has its highs and it has its lows. And so we're just gonna talk about it today. So I wanted to make sure I talked to Alesha. Okay, so I see some people in here. Make sure you say hello in the chat. We can see the chat. So if you're in here, make sure to say hi. We want to see from you. We want you to join in on the conversation. So as you can see, let us know that you joined and say hello in the chat. We would love to know that you are here. So share it. If you have a single person, go get a friend, get some popcorn, get some tea, get whatever you need because it's going to be a great conversation. But today I do have a none other than Alesha Patterson. This is my friend, y'all. So far, everybody that I've had on this podcast, I can tell you that I actually know them and love them, and I have met them in so many different ways. So, Alesha, I can tell you how I know her. We are church kids, church babies. You'll learn a little bit more about how Alesha is in her church and the ministries that she is. But I know her as a church baby. Baby, I know she got a huge family. That's all I know. I know Alesha, she comes from a huge family. She's a PK, and then she is also my fellow fitness baddie, fitness girly. We are fitness girls. We love that gym. She is a certified trainer. So yes. So if you need to get those last 60 days in before summer, talk to Alesha. She'll get you right. She'll get you
Not the
right.
last minute.
That last minute workout because summer is coming, people. Summer is coming. And so if you need to get it right, basically make sure that you are talking to Alesha. All right, so Alesha, let's go ahead and get started. I do see that we are live because I saw a couple of people pop in. And so I've said a lot about who I know you to be. But I wanted you to give you opportunity to tell a little bit about yourself. So we're going to go into your background. And so could you tell us a little bit about who you are and how would you describe yourself?
Okay, so like Tanisha said, yes, I guess I did. Well, I ain't gonna say I guess I did grow up in church. I am a PK. I wasn't always a PK, but I became a PK when I got older. But
Mhm.
it's not always easy being a PK, so I'm gonna take it, however I can get it. But anyways, I'm 30 years old, and first and foremost, I am a woman of faith, so I'm happy
Mhm.
to be on this podcast. Woman believe because I am a believer. But
Mhm.
ultimately, my compassion is just helping other people, helping women when it comes to like fulfilling your purpose and
Yeah,
doing what God's calling you to do, using your gifts, using your talents, because that's how you get the most out of life. And
correct.
that is definitely a way that you can enjoy. One of the ways you can enjoy your single life is when you discover who you are and see that you have a purpose. And so that's a really big thing to me. So I like helping people spiritually, getting it right, physically getting it right in these last 60 days before the summer
Summer is coming.
for the summer come back. So yeah, that's pretty much a good gist about me.
Amazing. And so, like, yeah, and that's one of the things that became Kendrick's being like me and you, we just connected just easily,
True.
like through comedy, whether talking about the Lord, just having jokes, is because we share that same passion of how can we help each other. And I
Yeah.
remember when I was thinking about, going into fitness and doing more through our mutual friend Rakita, you were
Mm.
like, hey, this is what I went through. Here's my book. So just in case you think she's selling a tale, no, she literally was like, you can have all these things if this is what you really want to do. So
Yeah.
Alesha is really about whatever you feel like your purpose and plan is. If she can help you, she will definitely help
Yeah.
you.
We should
So
and we should help each other because like life is hard. So why would you not
yeah,
try to help other people? Because we all going through the same thing. So if I know something you don't know, I can help you. And then if you know something I don't know, you can help me. So
absolutely. Because life be life.
true.
So, You come from a big
Pretty much a
family. Right. You come from a big family. And so I always have wanted to know because I always crack up when I see the Patterson babies. That's how I literally start calling you. I was like, hey, Patterson babies, because it
that
was,
is
I
true.
would always see y'all and
You always call us the Pattersons. Every time she say, "Hey, Pattersons."
hey, Patterson. Because, baby, I was like, I don't know none of their names. I was like, I don't remember none of their names, but I know these are
That's funny.
Pattersons. I'm like, hey, Pattersons. Now, which one you are, I don't know, but I know
I
you
know
one
you
of them.
won.
You're one of them. And so I've always wanted to know. I was like, where does Alesha fit? I was like, what is the order? Is she the oldest? I don't know. I always think that you are the oldest because you're so protective of your siblings.
Mhm. Wait, your discernment was right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of 7, so
Ooh,
I feel like
child.
I have my kids already. I ain't gonna lie. I really do. I
Alesha was
really
like,
do.
no, I'm done. I've raised all my children. My children are grown.
For real. I've been a mother before. I know. I can
I
help
know
you
your mama like, girl, calm down. Baby, just because I told you to watch your sister when she was in the store, calm down. That is
out.
not your
Hey, that is true though. I can't take her credit, but yes, I got a little experience though.
Yes.
I got a little experience. That's why I'm not rushing too hard.
Listen, I know that's
I ain't gonna
right.
stop God, but I ain't rushing.
Right. And so, because you talked about being a PK, like being a PK later in life. What ministries, like, because if you are in ministry and you're in church, you do get in ministries, but when you become a PK, especially later in life, it seemed like it ups the ante. What
Yes.
are some ministries that you got involved in either before or after you became a PK?
Okay. So, like you said, when you become a PK, it kind of really go up. So before I was just like a regular member, which is not a which is not a bad thing. But once I became a PK, actually I became like the musician at our church. I was over the youth and the young adults. Pretty much anywhere that I'm needed, that's what I do. I teach and preach at my church, Sunday school, Sunday Bible study, like whatever, lead prayer. Just it's like pretty much one of those things where
So, in other
you
words, you tap.
yeah, pretty much I'm doing everything. But the main thing is uh music, the young adults, and sorry for my background. You hear
Okay,
some people talking, but
right.
music, kind of teaching and preaching over the young adults.
Okay,
That's the kind of
awesome.
things that I do. So yeah,
Good. Everything. So
busy.
because a lot of times I was talking to Danae in last month's podcast, and I was
Mhm.
really talking about like identity, and I was talking about as far as identity crisis and breaking past fear. And so I was
Mhm.
trying to talk to her about because she was also a PK as well. How are you able? And I'll ask you the same thing. How are you able to like separate yourself from the church to really be able to understand and know your own identity?
Okay, that's a good question. So, like, I know when you grow up in church, or just like if you have any role in life, like you can get lost in a role. So, like, a
Mhm.
mother could get lost in being a mother and maybe neglect all the other stuff that's good about herself. Like, any role you get in, you can get lost. So, for me, keeping my identity separate from the church is that, like, basically for me, I had to ask God, what have you called me to do?
Mm,
And so, pretty much God doesn't only call us to like the church, the four walls, but he calls us to go outside of those four walls. So
mhm.
there's gifts, there are talents, there are passions that God gives us like to reach other people. So like we talked about earlier, I like fitness. So
Mhm.
being a fitness instructor is not a church title, right? Like you don't go to a church and like this is our fitness instructor, this is the
Right.
apostle. You don't like
Right.
you don't have that. But it's something that God gave me because he wants everybody to have good health. So
Correct.
for me, it's just I would encourage anybody to ask God, like, what have you put inside of me? Have you given me a passion? Because I know someone that has like an organization to help little girls help their self esteem. So
Oh,
even though it's not like a church thing, but it helps build that little girl up, so maybe she won't fall for the tricks of the devil because she
correct.
know who she is.
Mhm.
And then also, I would say I ask God too a lot about my personality. So a lot of times when you get caught up in a role, like maybe at church and you're a minister, maybe you feel like I got to be serious all the time, or
Oh my
every
God.
time,
Yeah.
every time I preach, I got to be, I got to do, I got to do that all the time. Which you don't have to do that.
You
So it's
don't have to hack.
It's still gonna be a good word if you don't.
Yes.
But yes, so I always ask that about my personality because your personality can just make people know you're authentic. So if you're funny, like some people are funny, the Bible says that laughter is medicine, right? So you might not be serious all the time. You may be funny, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I just say overall, you separate your identity from the church
Mhm.
because pretty much you learn all the things that God has put in you.
Right.
So
That
that's how
makes sense.
I feel about that.
I love that. I love that you said that, your personality, kind of sometimes you do have to understand like where you are and ask God, like, what do you really want me to do? Because he does. And I think sometimes we do it get in the church. And I have heard that,
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of people say, like, when you're a minister, you're supposed to be serious. And like when you doing all that playing around, that by the time you do ministry, no one's gonna, want to hear that comes out your mouth. And it's like, but that's not who I am. Wouldn't somebody want to know
Right.
that I'm a real person as well? And I
Yes,
do
of course.
believe it's very
It's
important.
important.
I do believe that when you have other gifts, you should take those gifts and do them unto the Lord. So like if you're really good and you really
Yes.
love fitness, then okay, help people, help with the body, the temple. Like
Right.
help with that. And so it's like if you are funny, use that in a way. Like if you knew somebody was down and they're not having a good day, call them and cheer them up.
Right.
So everything doesn't have to be pulpit for you to say that it's ministry.
Exactly. That's so true because a lot of people, like I know, it's just a lot of people get scared to walk in their purpose
Hmm.
because they don't look a certain way. And that's
Yeah.
like I would say that's something that I'm learning. Like you don't have to look a certain way, just be who God called you to be. And whoever God called you to be is gonna draw the right people to you. Like you don't have to be a copycat because like if you're a copycat, then it's like people feel like you're not real, or
Hmm.
you fake. Yeah, that's
And it
that's
does.
that's really big. That's a really big deal.
And it
So
comes off. It's like after a while you can't keep up that image. And it's like it's
mhm.
okay. And I think sometimes, and I'll make sure I get back on task because me and you could talk about this for hours. But it is one of those different things. It's like um I really feel that, women in ministry, it also seems like this heightened as well, that we look a certain way, that we dress a certain way, that we act a certain way. And for some pieces, yes, I'm
Yeah,
not going to down the church by no means. Yes, there are certain things. It's like, hold
yeah.
on now. If I see you doing some on, like, we listen and we don't do it, but we be judging. So it's
Right.
like,
You gotta judge. When you have a for it be a mess, you need a judge.
we gonna judge a little bit. So it's kind of
You
like if
got
I
to.
see you as holy on one minute, but that Instagram is looking a little hazy, I might
Yeah.
judge just a little bit. It might, for some people, it might vex their spirit. So it is always a way of being an example. But I think it's okay to say, okay, she was in church and then yes, she likes to go roller skating. Or
Mhm.
she's in church and yes, she likes music. So I think it's okay to be a full person and still do ministry. And
Yeah,
like
it's
you
just like
said,
as long as what you're doing is not going against God or like
mhm,
drawing people away from God,
mhm,
I think that's fine because it's like everybody's not gonna come to church. So
right.
they're gonna see you outside the church walls. And so like I said with the fitness thing, I might help somebody with fitness who don't know God, but they just
Mhm,
like, when I work out with you, I feel so much better. I lost so much weight. Like, how are you so good at this? Then I can be like,
mhm,
oh, God, taught me. He helped me with this, and like it could be a witness. Just
mhm.
being like out of the normal church element. But I definitely agree with you. Definitely respect God. Like, don't be doing nothing that God. Like don't be going to like a skate that's not gospel. You want to go
Yeah,
to a
man.
gospel skate. So yeah, definitely keep it. I
Yeah,
agree.
keep it together. Keep it together. And it's just kind of like it's one of those different things that, if it's not if it's not against God's will, if it isn't going to cause someone to stumble or even yourself to stumble, it's
Mhm.
kind of like, really seek out to the Lord of how you should live your life and don't copy anyone else. Because I'm a firm believer. I heard this one time online. It was like, God can't bless who you pretend to be. He only can bless who
Mhm.
you are and who you're supposed to be. And I was like, ooh,
Ooh, that's
right.
good.
That was good. So yeah, I've always kept that in mind of just like even with this podcast, it was like I was telling you offline, I was like, I'm just gonna be myself. So just
Mhm.
go ahead and be you, and just kind of go from there. So
Yeah.
when thinking of online things, though, hey, my brother, right? Facts. That's my brother. Hey, bro. And so it's one of those different things when it comes to social media and doing ministry, doing things a little different. I know you have started being influencer and doing things on social media under the
Mhm.
title The Good Influencer. And so I knew you, like I said, I knew you before, and like I said offline, I was like, all of a sudden I was like, hey, she's talking on her, what we doing? And but it was really good snippets, really good shorts that was on there. And I think I actually
Mhm.
posted one as well. So if you didn't see it, go back and look at it. But what made you want to start The Good Influencer?
So the good influencer, and like I told you off this podcast, I was so surprised that you was gonna ask me that because I never thought anybody would ask me that. But it was like an actual real reason behind it. So
Mhm.
I probably made the name the good influencer when I was in high school. So let's say I'm 30 now. So maybe like 10 years ago when
Mhm.
Instagram was first popular and coming out. And so what made me start the page was like basically when I was going to high school, people would post like, let's say like guys would post like selling drugs and having money, having cars, all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
girls, they would post like their bodies and how they can get all these dudes. But it's
Mhm.
like behind the scenes, I knew these people and I knew they weren't happy. I knew that the life they're living, they're pretending to live online wasn't real or they were like suffering pain. And so I feel like when people come to my page, I want to influence them to do the good things because if I influence them to do the right things, that'll actually bring like peace and joy to their life instead
Right.
of like, following somebody that's making you think they're having a good time, but really in the background they depressed and they hurt and
Yeah.
all kind of stuff. So that's what made me think about it because I feel like a lot of people pages be promoting bad. So I said at least when they come to my page, I want them to see something good or like just encourage them to be a good person and do the right thing. So that's exactly how I came up with that. And at
Okay.
first it was just good, but of course, as I got saved for real, because you can grow up in the church and kind of know God, but once I really got to know God and really commit myself, it turned more into being a good influence, but with God influence, because you cannot be good without God. Apart from God, we cannot be good. So that's the background of the good influencer.
I love that. I was always, yeah, like I said, I just looked and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, come on, Alicia. So I started like leaving comments and heart, and I was like, come on, friend.
Thank
So,
you.
but
I
I really
appreciate the
do.
support.
I'm going to support. But it's like it's one of those different things. I really do love that because you do see a lot of people live their life on social media one way, and you know for a fact that is not their life.
Suffering
And
in the background. Yes.
suffering, like looking crazy, but you see them online, they're going on trips, they're doing this, they're doing that. Meanwhile, somebody trying to repo their car. So it's just like, stop. And so like, real stories. But it's like, but it's like, it's one of those different things that people are only going to show the good on social media.
Right. That's true.
People do a lot of things, even in relationships. We see, oh, here's this great relationship. Then all of a sudden you don't see the person no more. And you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah, that's true.
I had
Yeah.
to I had to mute y'all for 30 days because y'all love was driving me crazy. But now I don't see y'all no more. What's no, I want to know. I was just an investor. I want to hear that, see that too. But
Come
it
on.
is it's
But
like
yeah,
it's
that's
like it's one of those different things. Yeah. Social media can be one of those places that is like it's not real life.
yeah, and
Definitely not.
it's just a lot of people encourage you to do the wrong things, but they don't really tell you the consequences. And I think
Mhm.
that's why I really did my page because I want to tell you to do the right thing so you can have a good, a good outcome. That was really that's the
Right.
main thing.
Good. I love it. I love it. But with coming to social media and starting something so new that is different, did you ever feel like nervous posting, like getting through? Okay, tell me about that because I know I did. How did
Yes.
you get over it?
Oh my goodness. So I remember even doing my first video. I probably recorded about 1,000 times. Like, it's so weird because you would think, like, this is just a camera, like, nobody is behind the camera watching you when you just recording your video, but it's
Mhm,
like, you still feel nervous because you like, "People gonna watch me, I can't see how they respond, I can't see how they feel, I can't see
mhm,
how they look." So, it was definitely weird, and then for me, like, I've always like being more like reserved. And I would say I'm not that shy anymore, but I was kind of shy and timid. So it was just like it was scary because I felt like I gotta have this big personality and all that.
mhm,
But what helped me really get over it was just like one, it's like I knew I was doing it for God. Like I was doing it for the right reason. It's like the reason. And I knew that God was giving me things to help other people. And so it's like
Mhm.
one of the motivations was to help other people.
Yeah.
And then like recently it was something that God showed me in the Bible. So I don't know if you remember the story with the three servants that their masters gave them talents. He gave
Mhm.
one, another two, another five. So the one with one talent, remember, he didn't do nothing with his talent, and he said
Mhm.
the reason he didn't do nothing is because he was afraid. He was afraid to do it, and most people don't do what God called them to do, or are scared, or scared because they're afraid. And
Mhm.
so when he told the master that, the master said like basically he couldn't use that as an excuse because he said you knew that if you worked what I gave you, like you was going to get, something out of it.
Right.
And so basically God was showing me like even though you're afraid, do it anyways because if you step out on faith and do what I called you to do, some fruit going to come out of it.
Ooh.
And ever since I've been doing the page, I've had people come up to me and say like I really was encouraged by what you said. Some people are like, I'm going to start doing videos. And so it's just like me, like I know I wasn't perfect. My lighting is better now, but when I first started, my lighting was not perfect. I
Mhm.
probably didn't say everything right. My personality wasn't like jumping out, but it's like just me being obedient. God, He
Mhm.
made that fruitful. So God is just asking us to do what He says. So I would definitely encourage like anybody, if God is telling you to do something and you're afraid, like don't let that stop you because if you step out, God is gonna pretty much show out. So you ain't got to worry about it yourself. So yeah,
Ooh,
that's how you overcome it.
that was good. Thank you. I love that. I love that. I'm not gonna sit here and hold you. I love that because it's so scary. It's so
Yeah,
scary. It's cringy, but you're definitely right. If God tells you to do it, there's gonna be fruit from it. I'm gonna steal that from
yeah,
you. So just know that's gonna be in my dictionary. Thank you so much
that's
from the
fine.
positive.
Well, for real. And
Oh,
low key too, it's like everybody is like, I don't feel like anything you do out of your comfort zone, you're gonna be afraid. And I feel like
yes.
everybody is afraid. Like everybody is afraid at some point. And so it's like you're
Mhm.
not by yourself. Even if some people can look like, oh, I got it all together. Everybody is afraid. So like, don't feel like you the only one. It's
Mhm.
just gotta just push yourself out there so you can see what God gonna do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I almost caution if you're not afraid, and I'd be like, I
Say
can.
ain't enough nervousness for me.
You ain't nervous at all. You sure you supposed to be doing this? Like, I could kind of feel like, I don't know. That's just me now. Y'all can turn me up in the comments or you can text me later on. But I'd
Tell
be a
the
little
truth.
nervous when you're not afraid at all. I'd be like, hmm,
Yeah, I feel like it should be a little, just a little bit something there.
that's a
Keep
tad.
you humble.
Something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Give us something. So, okay, I want to jump into, I definitely want to make sure I got your background just to make sure people can kind of feel at home with you and just say, okay, who's
Mhm.
Alesha? Who's the good influencer? Get to know you, as far as your background and just say, okay, she's a real person. So it's like, hold on,
Hey,
Latrice.
Latrice. She said everybody got a little scared in them. That's so true.
Latrice, come on. I need to see something. I don't know you, man, but you speaking gospel because you ain't scared at all. Okay, I'm
Come on.
sorry, Latrice. I had to put you out there. I know you probably didn't know I could put them comments up there, but I appreciate you putting it up there because
Oh,
you
that's
ain't scared
real
at all.
though.
Thank you for not turning me up in the comments and just agreeing. Thank you. Praise the Lord. So we're going to talk about and keep talking in the comments. I really do want you guys to be a part of the conversation.
For
So I
sure.
want to go and start talking about the topic, enjoying your single season. And so, hey, girl,
Hey,
hey.
hey,
So
Latrice. Thanks for hopping in.
thank you. It's like it's one of those different things that in my mind it's like single season is just always a hot topic, and you get so many podcasts of people giving relationship advice. You have some stuff where it seems like they're pitting us against each other as far as men against
Mhm.
women. It's tiring, and so
It is.
sometimes single seasons can be great. It's like okay, I can do what I want. I don't have to answer to somebody, and then all of
Mhm.
a sudden it's like the bare minimum would take you under like. Oh, so I got to shovel my own
That's true.
driveway. I got to take
Time
my
to
own
take out the
trash
trash,
out.
right?
I got to keep taking out these trash. Okay, God, these bills. Wait.
Right, shoveling the snow off the car because we had a lot of snow this year. I was like, oh my gosh.
Listen, I would take that shovel and look up to the sky and say, "Do you not see your daughter?
So this
Do
would be
you
a
not
good
see
time.
her? This will be a great time. Do you not see her?"
God
Good.
said, hold on.
God say, hold on. But I'm like, listen, let me just be quiet. If I miss my blessing, amen. So before we get started, I do want to just clarify, for the people that may be wondering. I'm like, first
Mhm.
of all, I was like, are you single, Alesha? Let's start there, just to clarify.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I
Because
am single.
the saints will sit there and say, well, she probably got somebody. She talking about being single and probably got some. I'm like, well, listen, baby, we all in the same
Real
boat.
deal today. I'm single for real. I'm single for you get the real deal.
Baby, I'm single too. This phone just is dry. It's right next to me, baby. It ain't gonna never ring. Baby, I don't
It's
even have to
gonna
say it ain't gonna never ring, huh? That's what it's not gonna do. Okay, sorry. All right.
keep
I'm
hoping
sorry,
about
guys.
it. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna
It's gonna be all right, baby. We're struggling. It's okay. So, but when it comes to being single, why do you think, even though I gave 12,000 reasons, why do you think some people really hate being single? Like some people hate being single, and you guys in the chat, you can put in too. Why do you think some people really just hate
hate.
being in their single season?
Well, one, I think just like I think one like the society that we live in almost makes you feel singles and Pringle. I love it. The society that we live in like make us feel bad because we're single. It's almost like you less than or something is wrong with you, especially when you get a certain age, they be like, why they not married? And I think also like the enemy attacks your mind, like tell you you got 20 things wrong with you, you made too many mistakes in the past. Like, I just think that the world that we live in tells you if you're single, you're missing out. Like you don't have any value, you don't have any value. Like life doesn't actually start until you get married. And then also, especially for like Christians, I feel like, and this is different, but I feel like we think because, we're following God, we're doing everything that He tells us to do, that God has to bring that person to us
Hello,
when
where's
we
the
want,
prize?
when we, when we want it. And I understand that, but that's not how it works. God brings our reward in His timing. And I'm sorry I have to say it, but that's the truth about it. But I think a lot of times, especially as Christian women, you can't struggle when you try to live right. You're doing everything right, but then like maybe let's say you look over at somebody else who another lady that's really not in church, or let's say she got saved 2 months ago, and it seemed like her line is not dry. Dry. She getting married, like you say, your line is not dry, and you like Lord, like did you forget about me? Did I do something? And so I just think because because we think that God should give us something in our time, and because we have been good, and the truth is, it don't work like that. God has to give us that in our time. And I know that's the hard part. That's the hard part. That's the one that's the bad day part that makes it bad. But I think that's really a big reason. And also too, another big one I think is like some women are not happy with themselves. And so
Hmm.
they feel like, my life will be complete. I will be more happy once I get in their relationship. And it's just like, that's not the truth. And it's like when you think like that, it puts you in a spot where you just waking up, going to bed, waking up and going to bed, hoping one day your knight in shining armor is gonna rescue you from this terrible life. And it's like, no, it's
Right.
like no, you gotta live your life. So I just think, yeah, I think it's just the pressure from society and just us not really being patient. And yeah, I know it's not. I'm not saying it's not easy, but I think those are really, really the big ones. And I will say one more thing too. I feel like our world idolizes marriage too, because like us, like I know like in the church, if you're young and doing good, people are like, God gonna send you a man, and it's time for you to have a man, which all those things is good because I think they have good intentions, but I just think people feel like it's a level up, and really it's not a level up, it's just like a different status. It's,
Oh,
it's just a different status, and it's a different season of your life. And so I just think, yeah, basically I think we just think it's you're a lesser value when you're single. So I think that's why people just don't like it so much.
yeah. I'm gonna just go ahead and end. I'm gonna just put Latrice's comments up here and just read them in silence because the way you try to read me in these answers is crazy.
Yes. She said she been single
Yeah.
10 years. Why nobody want me? And let me say this too. And I'll say this is stuff that guy's been like showing me that I'm gonna just tell you. So one, sometimes men are not looking at you because God is trying to hide you. And I'm not talking about Latrice, but I'm just talking about in general. God is trying to hide you, keep you from getting hurt, keeping you from the
Well,
trauma, keeping
amen.
you from the wrong guys. So it'll save you, for the right one. And then also too, I feel like as Christians, like we talk about faith a lot. And we talk about faith when it comes for the house, the car, the clothes. But God will challenge you in your faith in being single. Like you have to have faith to trust that, even though I'm waiting, and sometimes yes, it is hard, sometimes it's not. I have to wait knowing that if I seek God first, if I keep him first, then all those things he'll add unto me, which is yes, the career, the house, but also the husband. So I think it's also like a faith journey as well. I
Mhm.
think it's honestly a faith journey.
Yeah. I think that's definitely true, even though I'm not gonna sit here and hold you, baby. I told
You
you
don't
after
like
the struggle.
it? I know. I
Some days
understand.
I be struggling, and I do sometimes. I have asked God, like, "Yo, it do feel like you're hiding me," because I be like,
Yeah.
"What is going on?" Because it does feel like other people who are not of the faith. I'm like, "Yo, they getting married, and I'm out here like really,
Yeah.
like Latrice said, single as a Pringle." I'm like, "What is going on?" We
And then
don't
also, and then also too, it's like we live in a world that tells us we got to be married by a certain age. You need to be
already.
married in your mid 20s, 30s. I know you like Tanisha said she done with that, but you
But
also got to realize that God knows when you're ready. Like if I take myself for example, when I was 25, I was thinking about getting married, but now that I'm 30, if I got married at 25, I don't think that would have worked because
mm-hmm.
I wasn't really mature enough. I don't think I would be like 100% ready to submit to love somebody all the time, even though they getting on my nerves. And then, so I would say it's like God knows the right time,
Mm-hmm.
and also the person that you marry aligns with your purpose as well. So it's just like you gotta leave it up to God. And I know it's not easy all the time, but you gotta leave it. You gotta leave it to God. He knows the perfect time because you rather wait a little bit and be uncomfortable and getting the right thing than hurry up and just getting the wrong thing. And then the rest of your life you be mad. You don't want
That's
to do
true.
that.
That's true. Because, like, well, I ain't going to go into that, but just know she's divorced and she's not lying. That's all I'm going to say. I am
Right.
divorced and she's not lying. So it's like, you don't want to rush into anything. And it's so hard. Marriage isn't hard. Let me not say that.
Hmm.
Marriage is hard when you're not with the right person. And so I
Right.
can say that from experience. Marriage was hard when you're unequally yoked and you're not with the person that God wants you to be. Does God honor marriage? Yes. Can
Hmm.
you make things work? Absolutely. But is it harder when God isn't at the center of it? Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Is take your time from someone who is a divorcee, anyone who hasn't been married or rethinking about getting married. Listen to Alesha. Just wait, even
Yeah.
though it's hard, just wait. And so
Yeah.
I want to kind of
It
ask
was,
you, go ahead.
and then I was gonna say it was a scripture in the Bible that kind of shook me up. It was saying like how it say like divorce is the cruelest thing that can happen to a woman. And when I read that scripture, I was just like super shocked. So it's like it's like a painful thing, and so it's like something you want to avoid at all costs. So I was just like, man, it made me think.
It's
It made
it's
me think.
it's horrible. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, even though, full transparency, because hey, we out here. Full
Hmm.
transparency, I am the one who asked for the divorce. It's
Hmm.
still, even in my decision, and even having the support of my church, and even being in the book of the one reason, or the reason, one of the reasons, because I'll say one of the reasons that you can lawfully get a divorce, it was still very painful. It was still like dealing with a death over and over again. It literally was like a funeral to my disappointment, or the dream, or seeing your family torn apart by this decision, like to go your whole life being married like from 21 to 32, and you have this 2-year-old now. It's like, now wait a minute, how did I get here from being single to now I am a single mother? Like, this is not what I signed up for at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very much like a life changing event that sometimes it do take. Well, it took me, some women, they can get over it. It took me a very long time to
Yeah.
process and get through it and heal. So yes, for me, it was hard. It was rough. I took it very rough. And so again, hence why I'm not really rushing. I didn't rush the
Yeah.
date. I took a minute. I took a minute before I started trying to get back out there and date. But it's hard. It's definitely
Seems
hard.
rough. And I'm gonna let you get to your next question 'cause I know you got the next question, but I'm glad you said that because it sometimes it bothers me. Like I feel like people can get divorced and they can still like be cool and all that
Mhm,
afterwards. Like I believe in that, but sometimes people
mhm.
just make it seem like, oh, we got divorced, we went our way, life is all good. I'm gonna just go on my journey and their journey. But it's like they don't talk about that pain that you have to face.
Man,
Like you said, from that divorce. And so I'm glad you said that because some
it
people
was
just make it seem
horrible.
like it's nothing. It's like no, it's a
No,
big deal.
it was
Big
horrible.
deal.
I don't, and that's what I said. For some people, perhaps. As for your girl, horrible. Like it was horrible. It just was. And it did feel like the person I was getting a divorce from, it seemed like they were fine. It seemed like they were doing okay. And I'm like, I'm barely making it. Like, what
Yeah.
of course I was able to maintain, and people didn't know I was going through what I was going through, because I wasn't walking around with sackcloth and ashes. I put the oil on my face, but it was still just like, but it was still just like, it was really hard. And it was like I couldn't have like this whole breakdown because I have this 2-year-old staring at me in my face. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so it was, for me, horrible. Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to being single though, and when you are a Christian woman, and it does feel like sometimes as a Christian woman, some people may perceive getting married as the prize for doing right and living a holy life. Or some
Mhm.
people do make you feel, not saying that the church does, but there's the members, I'll put it that way, the members of the church, because I never want to bash the church, but the
Right.
members of the church can make a single woman feel like, why aren't you married yet? And so I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
what do you think? Do you think the church is doing enough to help singles during that season of their life of being single?
So do I think they're doing enough? I would say definitely the church is getting a lot better. I feel like because like we're having this podcast and there's a lot of other podcasts that's having these conversations so we could talk about it. And I was actually talking to somebody the other day about that, and I feel like the church is doing better because we're
Mhm,
talking about it, addressing the
mhm,
issue, acknowledging that it's okay that you have a desire to get married, and even though
mhm,
even though it's not fulfilled and that it bothers you, but I really feel like this is a little bit different. But I feel like we need more discipleship for men in the church. And the reason I say that is because we got a lot of singles conferences, we got a lot of building up single women, but I'll say the options are not always there. And
oh my God, here we
so,
go.
so
Hang on, let me mute myself, because
like, so, and I'm not Tanisha. But and I'm not like blaming like, oh, if it was me and discipleship, that's the only reason. But I feel like we're as a church is definitely getting a lot better discussing these things. But I would just like encourage men in the church who are solid, like disciple other men you see in the church or other men you see outside of church because men kind of are able to pull in men better than women are able to pull in men. So we got more men coming to the church through discipleship that'll kind of give those, single women a little bit more options. But overall, I do feel like the church is doing better with, addressing how we feel. But I just think probably if we have more discipleship with men, it will it'll bring some more it'll bring some more marriages as well. Which I feel like God is starting to do that, honestly. I really do feel like he's starting to do that.
Yeah, I do think there are more, men are coming. I do kind of start to see that, but it did just feel like, when they say, "Oh, are you coming to the women's ministry?" And one time I just said it because you know me, Alesha, I just be saying stuff. But my thing is, sometimes you go in some of these churches, and I'm like, "What's the difference between the singles ministry and the sisterhood?" It
Stop.
ain't nothing but women in here. It's all women in here and two deacons waiting for us to leave so they can close the church.
Please
Serious.
don't.
I'm serious. The people that watch it know I'm not telling no tale. But it is, it's like where are the options is if as a Christian woman I'm supposed to be equally yoked, it's like where they at though? Like
Yeah.
where are they? And it's like if I go anywhere besides the church, which you're telling me I shouldn't be looking out there,
Mhm.
but that 6'3" uh
Don't do it.
gentleman. Okay.
Don't
Thank you.
don't do
Thank you, Latrice. Let me put your comments up so I can save myself.
don't do it. Which and I'm not saying that like if you don't have them like many men at the church that you know that's like discouraging you, but because God can send you a man that's not even in your church, that's in a whole
Right.
different state. Like it could be from anywhere. But I think that would help. But
Yeah.
please, God, don't go outside. Please don't do it.
We struggle it.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. He won't put more on you than you can bear.
Thank you. He'll make a way of escape. So what are some things that you do, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to really wait, I'm going to really wait, you thought about getting married when you were younger. Now you're like, I know I wasn't ready. So what are you doing in that season where you're like, hey, I really am going to trust in God? And for those that are watching, maybe saying, okay, I've been around, I've had, different disappointments or heartaches. Okay, I really want to wait on God this next time. What are some things that you're doing to actually say, how can I bring enjoyment to my singleness?
Okay, yes. So for me, number one is having a solid relationship with God. And I'm not saying that like just to be religious and say something, like you're trying to be religious, but you
Mhm,
really do. Because when you have a relationship with God, like He shows you how much He loves you, He shows you how much He cares about you, and He shows you your value. And a
mhm,
lot of times I would say we settle or we get worried about being single or going a wrong relationship because we want love, we want
mhm,
attention, we want someone to value us. But I would say one, if you can find that in God, that'll kind of help keep you stable so you
mhm,
won't feel desperate. And then also I would say self-improvement and
mhm,
discovering yourself. Because like when you get to know God, for me, as I built my relationship with God, He started showing me who I was. He started showing me all the things that He put inside of me. So like this is the first time I'm doing a podcast. I taught or preached at a women's conference for the first time. I'm on social media now, for the first time. It's like instead of spending my time being sad about what I don't have, God is showing me all the things inside of me that I could be doing, and it gives me value. And so I just think you have to spend time with God and say, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Because you're not going to start living once you get married. You can live now. Like you can have fun now. You can accomplish goals now. Like you ain't got to wait till you get married to do all those things. So that is something that I really enjoy because I'm enjoying getting to know different sides of myself, my personality, all the things that God has put in me. And I feel like when we sit around and be sad, then we delay God showing us who we are because we so worried about what we trying to get. And you could just be focused on all the amazing things that's inside of you. And like I said earlier, marriage is really about purpose. And so you want to get married, but that person that you're marrying is going to help you with your purpose. But if you
mhm.
don't have a purpose, then why
Uh,
do they need to be there? So it's just like it's just invest in yourself, and you'll like it. I'm telling you, like, because you'll find so many amazing things about yourself that you don't even know. So that's how I enjoy my singleness.
I love that. I love how you talked about, your person is going to help you with your purpose. I love this last part the best, where you were just like, but if you don't know what your purpose is, it's kind of like, how are you supposed to help? And I think that some kind of way sometimes we get into relationships, men and women, we get into relationships and we don't know what our purpose is. And then we make the relationship our purpose. And then we just find ourselves losing ourselves in that relationship because what we decided is that the relationship is our purpose. And God is like, no, I designed you to be something else. You were supposed to be
Yes.
doing this, but you put all of your focus into that relationship. And so I was talking to this young lady about that because I was talking about what my next question is about being annoyed, being single. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do this. And I was like, I said, I'm gonna act as if God has told me I'm gonna have a husband, which He has. Y'all pray for me, who's all in the connects. Y'all pray. So
Wow.
if God, thank you. If God is telling me I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have a husband, it just hasn't happened yet, but that means that slot is already filled because he's already told me that I'm going to have a husband. So I
Mm-hmm.
am going to operate as if that slot is already filled. It just isn't the right time. So if I know I'm going to get married, what is everything else I want to do besides being married? Because I know marriage isn't the
Yeah.
only thing that I want to do. I don't want to
Right.
just be married. I want this, this, and this, and this. So if that slot is filled, okay, he's over here. I ain't met him yet. But what else do I want to do? So
Right.
while I'm waiting to that point, what else do I want to do? Because I don't think you should. And plus, I think you owe it to your mate to already be that person.
Bring something
Because
to the
why would
table.
you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like why are you waiting and then all of a sudden be like, well, I actually wanted to do fashion. I actually want. Girl, you was just in the choir. You was just
Well,
an
you
usher.
10 kids now, so I guess you can't go to fashion school.
Thank you.
Well, yes, God knows what you're saying.
I'm like, what is that? Because I know I would feel some kind of way if my husband came to me and I saw what he was doing because my thing is not marrying potential. I'm just gonna marry the person that's in front of me. If all of a sudden you tell me this and then all of a sudden you're like, oh well, I've been wanting to do that. Not to say that Lord can't change, call you to ministry and some other things, but something be so outlandish. Like, why are you waiting to get married and then all of a sudden be like, now the doors have opened to this purpose? I don't think that's how God works.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. It's like it feels good when you could bring something to the relationship. That
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that, and just like I would say this, like a lot of people like commit suicide, kill themselves, and the main reason because they feel like I don't have a purpose. What's the point
Yeah.
of me being here? Ain't nobody gonna miss me. I don't have nothing to do, and so it's like you just want to make sure you fulfilling your purpose. And God created us individually to do things, and it's like when you get to on Judgment Day. Where God, sending people to heaven or hell, He's not gonna ask you, okay, you can't go to heaven because you didn't get married. He's gonna be worried about did you do what I called you to do. And so while you're in your single season, just focus on doing what God called you to do. Don't delay it because
Yeah.
the Bible says when you're single, you're supposed to devote your time to God because when you're married, you're not going to have that same amount of time. And so while I'm single, I got to get everything out that I'm supposed to do. That way I don't have any regrets when I get married or, just
Mm-hmm.
feel so lost or feel like, who am I? And, that kind of stuff. And too,
Mm-hmm.
I did want to say hi to Albertina. She was in
Hey,
the comments. I wanted
Albertina. I
to
saw
say
you. Hey, girl.
hey, and then I saw Latrice. She been popping out the
I
comments.
love the comments. Thank you, Latrice. Thank you, Albertina. Anybody else, feel free to bring up. But I'm with you, Latrice. I definitely read it, and I feel like that too. It's like
Yes.
I'm so busy with my kid. It's like I don't have time sometimes to be sad. Like I'm woe thin. Latrice, we gonna talk about kids. I don't know how old your baby is. My baby is 12. Latrice, a baby. I'm tired, so I don't have time. But hey, Albertina, we glad you came in here. And so I do want to know though, in reality, has there been times before you started on this journey? Have you had those times where you were annoyed being single?
Yes, yes. That I definitely was. I would say it was like more in my maybe I was around like 23 to 25. And
Hmm.
for me, I was annoyed. I think it was just the pressure. Just,
Yeah.
people always asking you, are you single? Are you in a relationship? Or they actually they was like, are you in a relationship? And you say no. They like, oh, you know,
Right.
it's gonna be all right. You like, dang,
He coming, girl.
why
You next. Every time somebody get married, you next.
you But yeah, it's just like like the pressure, seeing other people in relationships, and then also like looking around and like feeling like I don't really like anybody, like any guys that I know in my life. I don't really like them, And so
Mhm.
just that pressure, I'd say that I experienced of like feeling like I have to be in a relationship, that is what really just like annoyed me the most. I'm not really annoyed with it that much now because I
Mhm.
understand that God has me waiting for a reason. But like when I was in the mid 20 stage, just the I think it was the peer pressure. And actually my mom had told me something that made me think about it. She
Okay.
said she was at this conference and this one lady, like, you know how you always had that one person that come randomly talking to you, like they don't know you, but they just feel like you they family. She came up
Mhm.
to my mom and she was like, I was asking God, when you gonna send me a husband? When you gonna send me a husband? And then she was like, and she said, God responded back to me and said, do you want a husband or do you just want to have sex? That's what and that's what God and she started like laughing. And she was laughing because the truth was she wasn't ready like for a husband. She wasn't ready to sacrifice and doing all that. She was trying to get some
Come on,
to help
mother.
herself. But the reason
Baby, your mama finna be hot. Your mama finna be
no, she
first
she
of all.
she she told me the story, but that made me think because it's like sometimes we got to think, why do you want to get married? Like when people think about marriage, what do they think about? Sex, having somebody that you can hang out with. People don't think about I gotta sacrifice for this person on days when they getting on my nerves. I gotta love them. Like people don't think about like the whole aspect of it. So sometimes I would even say like think about like do you really want to get married? Are you ready to get married? Like have you worked on your trauma? Have you it's like it's a big picture. So I would
Mhm.
just say think about it. Are you really ready for it?
I'm hollering because
Because
when
it's a
your
lot
mom,
to it.
I'm hollering because
For
you were
real.
like, do you just want to have sex or do you want to get
For
married? And it was
real.
like, pause.
And that made me think because when I was in my mid 20s, I was like, I don't really want to get married. Because the only reason I wanted to get married is because everybody else was. I wasn't really ready to get married. I wasn't really ready to like submit to somebody and have to answer to somebody. And not that I'm like that now, but I'm just saying at that time I just kind of wanted to do it because everybody else was. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was really helpful that she told me that.
Yeah, and they do. It does a lot of times. And social media doesn't help. Sometimes you have to take a social media break because you do be
Yeah.
just like, it's everybody in love with me. How am I just out here
Yeah.
in these raggedy streets? And it's just like how. So yeah, I do love that. It is something to kind of think about.
Yeah.
When you get into that annoying state of why does it seem like everybody is getting married, everyone's having kids, everyone's happy, and I'm just here eating chicken
Yeah.
salad. Like, what's going on?
Not
So
chicken.
I literally got
Crackers.
chicken salad today. Sorry, it was delicious.
You eat it
If
with
you have a
crackers.
Costco, I had it with Hawaiian sweet rolls. The ones at
Ooh, okay.
Costco. Oh my,
Ooh, that sounds good. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's
Good.
amazing. I'm telling you. Hence why me and you go to the gym because I want to eat chicken salad and
The
Hawaiian rolls.
Hawaiian rolls, right? With the Hawaiian rolls, right?
The Hawaiian rolls was the part that was wrong, but it's like that's what I wanted, and I'll be on that treadmill ASAP.
Yes.
So how can you, when you are in that annoying state, how can people avoid really settling? Because you talked about this a little bit before. It's like sometimes you get
Mhm.
so annoyed that you end up settling for the wrong person instead of continuing to wait on God. How can people really just say, "Let me not settle," because things are going to come to you. So let's just say that
That's true.
people are going to come to you, even if you're in your waiting season. It's not like most people can say there's different individuals that come talk to you. I mean, most women can barely go to the gas station when I have an issue. So
Hey.
it's like how could how could you make sure that you're avoiding not settling?
So I would say the main thing is, and again, this is not easy advice, but it's the God truth that's gonna help you.
Mhm.
You have to learn how to be content in singleness. Um, and this is something like that God talked to me about just in general in my life because I'm like, God, why am I not here? Why am I not there in my life? And He was like, you have to learn how to be content. And the reason you do is because when we are not content, that's when the devil sends the counterfeit because he
Oh,
knows you're desperate. He knows you're gonna go for it because you are not content. And so that's something that God had to teach me. It's like no matter how much money you got, where you live in, what job you got, your relationship status, learn how to be content because if you don't do that, the devil is gonna send you exactly what you want, and you gonna fall for the bait. And then, later on, the enemy will expose himself. So I would say, number one, you have to master how to be content. And yes, Latrice, it is difficult, but you have to master it, because if you don't, the enemy is going to get in. And there was a scripture in the Bible that talks about the devil being an opportunist. So
Mm.
he is not a person that like just randomly shoots and comes all the time. He is an opportunist. So he's like, okay, I see she desperate right now. She lonely. Let me send so and so her way to, whisper a couple scriptures in her ear. So, so, something like that. So, well, yes, amen, Sister Tara. But yes, that's how the devil works. He's an opportunist. So if it's like a dog will attack you if it can smell your fear. But if
Mhm.
you like staying strong, that dog won't come against you. So you have to learn how to be content. And then another way not to settle is you have to get your relationship on point with God and ask him, who am I? Like we know from the Bible, we are a royal priesthood, okay? So just I'm gonna use a natural example. A queen, if you're a queen, right? And you're trying to get married, you want to marry a king, right? You don't want to marry a peasant. You don't want
Hello.
to marry a robber. You don't want to marry a thief, right? You want to marry a king, but if you don't know that you're a queen, you're gonna settle for the robber, you're gonna settle for the thief. And so it's like you have to spend time with God, ask him, who am I? And once God show you who you are, then it's gonna help you pick better, or it's gonna help you say, you a robber, I can't deal with you, you a thief, you're not gonna be good for me. So I would say it's definitely getting to know who you are and asking God who you are. And there's one more thing I want to say. I wrote it down. I wrote it down, but I cannot remember. um let's see here. Also, too, you gotta also, I would say this is what really, really helped me, especially now, is understanding the purpose of marriage. Like you gotta
Mm.
understand what marriage really is, like what it really takes. If your marriage is gonna last, you gotta be able to unconditionally love somebody. So if you
Mhm.
know right now it's a hard time for you to forgive people, like you cut people off in a minute, somebody do you wrong, you gonna do them wrong. Like if you know that's you gotta work on that.
Mhm.
Start working on that, because that's going to be a part of marriage. They're going to get on your nerves, and you still got to love them. Not all the time they're going to get on your nerves, but just really understanding the purpose of marriage. And the purpose of marriage is really two people coming together, glorifying God,
Mhm.
fulfilling purpose, raising up godly children. And so you got to think, this person that I'm giving my time to, or am I talking to, are they going to follow that same thing? Do they fear the Lord? Do they want to raise up our kids and make sure they go to church? You
Mhm.
just gotta make sure y'all on the same page, and just make sure you know what marriage is really about. And I think that will help you choose wisely, because you're gonna want somebody. You're gonna want a king because you're a queen, and you're not gonna settle for everything else.
That
So
was good. That was very good. I think, and sometimes it is, you do get, and some people might know that they're a queen, but sometimes it, absolutely, Dr. Tara, excellent points. And so sometimes people can, hey, hi, Lady D.
hey,
So
ladies.
it's one of those different things. Is you did definitely make it plain, and so I think some people don't know who they are in the Lord, and they do get
Yes.
trapped into finding like a jouster or a robber or like a thief.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
Mm-hmm.
know, and then sometimes people can know that they're a queen, and they get into this mode of, well, they ain't that bad, and maybe I can help them.
Yeah. Don't do it, sis.
It's, it's
Don't
like,
do it.
don't do it, because it's one of those different things. Is like you were talking about before, when you talk about the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage isn't that. It isn't me trying to make sure I can get you to be a king. You're gonna just have to get there. Like that is not who you're supposed to be with. And I think a lot of
Mhm.
times we miss the point of being equally yoked is because we feel like in time they can get there in time. And it's like that's not it. And I think a lot of people do fantasize or romanticize marriage and not truly know what the real purpose is.
Yes.
If we're supposed to be doing God's godly purpose and walking towards the Lord together, it's
Yeah.
like, how can two walk together except they agree? If you're not on the same path that I am on, we already set up for disaster. Like I said
Yeah.
before earlier, I was like, because if you weren't married to the right person, which I can literally say that I was not married to the right person, not saying that that's a bad person, but I was not married to the right person,
Right.
which made the marriage hard.
Yes.
And so it's just like going forward, it's like, yeah, no, I'll wait. I don't know if
Yeah.
experience taught me, but it is one of those different things. If you're like me and a divorcee, it's like I can tell you it is better to wait. But if you have not been married, it's like, let me just go ahead and wait and figure out what else I need to do and
Yeah.
still grow in God. And one thing I love that you said earlier is that as I start knowing myself in God and I start bringing more things to the table, actually it elevates the type of caliber of man that needs to be with you.
Yes, exactly. And God wants the best for you. So
Mhm.
it's okay to wait. It's okay to work on yourself so that when it's time you get with the right person. You don't spend your life in regret because there's a lot of like married people that's regretting because they try to marry somebody and God said don't do it. They
Mhm.
not ready. You not ready and they push past it. And so it's like now they're suffering for that or they got to deal with that drama. And so it's like if you gonna wait, go ahead and wait so you can
Mhm.
get that, good thing that you need. So yeah, please wait,
Mhm.
y'all.
And I
Please.
think some people, they bring God at the wedding. Like they don't, while you're dating this person, we forget to pray while we're dating this person. Like
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with dating, but it's like, when did you bring Jesus into the relationship? If you brought him into the wedding, baby, you too late.
You need to pray the first day you look at them and say, "Ooh, I like them." That's the day
Real.
you pray and say, because my mom, she act for real. My mom actually taught me that. She was like, "You can ask God, and like if I feel like I like somebody and they like me, I'm asking God. I'm like, God, is this guy supposed to be in my life? And once God tell me, I'm out." Because I
Hmm.
feel like because I know as women, we can kind of get delusional because of our emotions, and we're so hopeful that it's gonna work out. So I would say when y'all are friends, you need to ask God, like, is this gonna be good for me? And
Yeah.
once He tell you, it's a walking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely gets
Come
a walking.
on,
Baby, if you got to take off your shoes and run, run. That's what
please
it is.
run
Run.
like Joseph.
Listen. And so, what advice would you give someone to like fill up their time while they're in that waiting season? Like, what do we do? Like, because it's you have social media. Sometimes people feel like in the church that they can't do too much, which I find not to be true. But it's one of the different things. How are you able to like fill up your time? Because some people feel like, well, if I had a mate, me and that person can do this, but I'm by myself. And so if you don't have children, I know Grace is saying hobbies, but for
Definitely.
those that are just like, well, what should you be doing? Like, what steps should you really be doing while I'm in this waiting season?
I agree with Grace. Like hobbies, like you can have fun. It's like it's so many different creative places out here that one that you can go to. You can go out with your friends. Like you might not be going out with like a special person. Go out with your friends. And
Mhm.
then again, since we're on this Women Believe podcast, as a Christian, like the Bible says that the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few. Now I'm not telling you, go out to every neighborhood and witness, but I'm saying God will position you in certain places to work for him. Like
Mhm.
for me, like now that I'm single, I'm able to do my fitness stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe you're a person that like to design. You can design stuff. It's just like it's the time to just do all that you can do. Find all the gifts, all the talents in you. Go out, have fun. Go with your family. Like just it's like live life. Just do everything you want to do, whether it's in church or traveling. Just fill up your time doing stuff because what they say like an idle mind is a devil's playground. So get
Correct.
busy. Do whatever. Go out with your friends. Go out with your family. Like she's like keep yourself busy doing things. That's what I would say. Just keep yourself busy doing things, whatever that looks like to you.
Man, good. I love that. And it can be anything. It doesn't always have to be in the church. I know Lady D was saying,
Mhm.
get busy in ministry. I mean, every church has 5,000 things for you to do. If your church don't, come on to Temple Church of Christ, but we got some work for you to do.
Like I said, my
Promise.
church too. Right.
Right. We gonna shout them out. Like Alicia said, did you not hear me say I do everything? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So, So it's like there's
Right.
always something to do. And even if you do, and I think sometimes, and I'm just going to speak for women because that's the podcast and the people that I'm
Uh-huh.
drawn to. I think sometimes as women, we say we can't do things alone. Like you can't travel alone. I'm like, you
Yeah,
can.
you can.
You can, you just have to be safe. Yes. But what if you have a desire to travel and you get a husband who doesn't really want to travel?
That's true. So now you waited for no reason.
No, you
Hey,
waiting for no reason. And it's like I truly, yeah, it's like I truly believe come in your marriage already happy, come in your marriage already fulfilled, come in your marriage with already with no regrets. And then it's like if this person is going to help you with your purpose, then you can say, well, you know, when you're in these dating conversations, you can start speaking to the things that you already like to do, and then you can decide,
yeah,
does this person match with me or no? You know,
right.
if you don't, if I'm a person that likes to travel and they're like, ooh, you know, I ain't even really been to Illinois. Oh, baby. Mm-mm.
Not we gotta go further than Illinois.
Gotta go further. You know, but this is like you just would know that even though I know that's small and some people gonna eat me up for that, but it's that still it's like those small different things is like this isn't going to work because we are not on the same page. We don't have the same
True.
desires. Because I my goal is that whatever I do as far as recreation, baby, please, please. I'm sorry, you know,
Oh,
that's a different.
funny.
But it's like my thing is when it comes to recreation and having fun, I want my person to match the
And
things that I
it
like to
should
do.
balance
It should be
spiritually and, just naturally. It should chemistry, it should balance.
correct. And
I
so it's like it's one of those different things that, but if I am waiting on someone to do that, I
yeah.
just really feel like I'm not bringing anything into the relationship besides I just go to church. To me, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna put this out in the atmosphere. I don't want someone that all they do is just go to church. That's
Because you
just
want to
me.
see other sides of, other sides of them. See them as a whole person.
Yeah. And I just want to know, does that match what I like to do? And so, yeah, I just feel like whatever you want to do, and I think we've kind of covered it quite a bit, is like when you're in your single season, just make sure you're out here doing the things that you've been called to do, get to know your full self. Because I am a true believer and I am a person who did lose themselves in a relationship because I did marry young. I married at 21. So it's one of those different things that, you know, the relationship kind of took over. And it was like
Yeah.
once I was divorced, it was like I felt like I lost myself. And so I had to like rebuild who I was. And so it's like, you know, where are we? You know, when it comes to that, and so it's like, you know, hopefully this go round, you know, hopefully this go round, I'll be more well rounded, like Dr. Tara Phelps Jones is saying, to say like, I know who I am. No one can tell me who I am. I know my purpose. You know, I know what I'm supposed to
Right.
do in life. Now, where do you fit into this? You know, so I'm not
That's good.
compromising, you know, what I want and what I need.
True. And I also was gonna say, I like how you said like, going into hobbies and getting to know yourself, like even outside of church, is like because like if that guy asks you out on a date and he like, where you want to go, and you don't even know where you want to go,
You don't
so
even
it's good.
know.
So it's good to like know different aspects of yourself. And I also was gonna say another thing that helps you when you're waiting to fill up your time is perfecting yourself. So
Mhm,
getting better. So for me, I know I try to read more books, try to
mhm,
get better handle on finances, communication, like all kind of different stuff, because we'll never be perfect. Like we'll never reach perfection. So you'll
mhm,
have endless time to work on stuff like that. But I definitely agree with you. Like chemistry, naturally and spiritually should balance, because you
mhm.
want to have fun at church, but you also want to be have fun outside of church and be able to relate.
Yeah,
You know,
correct. Like,
outside of church.
tell me something else, sir, please. Jesus, everything we doing in here ain't praying. I'm just gonna put it out there. Whew.
You, but yeah, it's good to have a good balance.
It's a good balance, good healthy balance. So I want to talk about the future. So we heard about your background. We talked about the single season, and so I do want to talk about what the future looks like for you. And so, what does it look like, Alicia? What does the future look like for Alicia?
So for me, my goal in life is to die empty. So it means just making sure I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. That's what I want to do. I got that from Miles Monroe. Don't leave nothing in the grave, when you die. So for me, it just looks like continuing to do stuff like this, help women, encourage men, continue to improving myself, and we'll see what God has for me in the future.
I love that. I want to die empty. That was
For real.
perfection. I love that. And from us having this talk and having the podcast, what is the key message you hope listeners, whether they were in the live or watch it later, what do you want them to walk or take away from today's conversation?
So I want you to take away there, one, your single season is not like a sad season or a pity season, but it's really a season to find yourself, get
Mhm.
yourself equipped, get yourself ready. So when that time comes in marriage, you'll be ready, right? You'll be that good whole spouse. And also, I want you to know that it does take faith on this journey. Every day won't feel great, and that's okay. But you want to hold on to God, because as you wait on the Lord, He gonna renew your strength, and if you don't faint, you're gonna get your reward. So I would just encourage everybody to hold on to God, invest in yourself, improve yourself as you're waiting on your time. That way you can have the best marriage of your life. That's what I want you to take away from it.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you, Dr. Phils. I was like, it is such a good discussion. And so I do just have one last question for all of those that are here. This might be their first time getting to know you, even see you in a different light. If
Mhm.
anybody wants to connect with you, whether it's to learn more about the good influencer, if, like I said, summer is coming, if they want to know how you can help them with
Want to unbig the back.
the if summer is coming for you and it's like 60 days of summer, if they want to work out with you because you are a certified trainer, how can they reach Alesha if they just want to say, hey, I want to know more about this discussion, or hey, I want to talk to Alesha, maybe she can come talk to the women at my church or my organization? How can they get in touch with you?
So I'm on Facebook as Alesha Patterson. I'm on Instagram. It's the Good Influencer. TikTok is the Good Influencer 247. So my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I got anything else? I am on YouTube also as the Good Influencer 247. So again, Facebook, Alesha Patterson, YouTube and TikTok, the Good Influencer 247, and Instagram, the Good Influencer.
Okay, so
And I guess
IG.
I'll say I'm thank you. So I'm mainly on. I probably check, I guess, DMs mainly on Facebook and Instagram. I'm kind of
Okay,
new to TikTok and YouTube, so
okay, you said good influencer 247.
for TikTok and YouTube.
Okay. There
Thank
we go.
you.
So I'm gonna put some of it up here. And so I'm like
Yes,
trying to
ma'am.
type as fast as I can. So for those that saw it, it's in there, it's in the chat. But what I'll do is I'll try to put it on for the people that rewatch it. I'll try to put it into the subject so they can just kind of click and tag it on there so that people can see it.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
super
Follow
excited.
me on there. Pray for me, y'all. I'll take it.
Listen, because you're doing amazing things. A lot of the clips are on there. You definitely can see in all her different clips that are on there. They're amazing. They're really good. They're short, but they're very powerful clips. So definitely, please make sure that you follow her. If you haven't followed her already, like you can see Alesha, you can see her name, and her last name is Patterson, common spelling. That you can get her on Facebook, and then you check her out on Instagram, and you see the TikTok and YouTube that's
Oh
on
my
there.
God,
So
come
yes,
up here.
and we got the puppy was like, now it's been an hour. What are
Time.
we doing? So amazing time. So thank you guys so much for the ones that came in and watched it live. I also thank anyone that watched the replay. If this
Yeah.
touched you in any kind of way, I'm just asking that you continue to share or bring someone over to When Women Believe, or also bring them over to Alesha. And so next month in May, we'll be having a Mommy and Me for the Mother's Day podcast. It's actually going to be me and my mom. So we're going to talk about, different relationships because me and my mom do not have a traditional mother and daughter relationship, but I do want to talk about, what that looks like to have a different mommy and daughter relationship. So
Not the
yes,
Bible verse for everything.
so yes, she
Did that
does
word
look. I love that. And so she definitely, Alicia does practice what she preached. And so if you are looking for a good influencer, if you're looking for a word of advice, or if you're looking like if you're having a moment where you're struggling, reach out to your girl, Alicia. But I thank everyone so much for coming into the live. I appreciate you all, and we'll check you out next time. So thanks again, Alicia. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You have any final words before I cut out?
Yes, I was gonna say thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I appreciate what you're doing, trying to help women and be transparent because that's what we need. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody that got on. So I appreciate everybody. Love everybody.
Thank you. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Lady
Bye.
D.
Thank you.